Okay. And then what do you think? No headphones or should I wear headphones? How does it
It
sound?
goes with the whole pop star look, I think.
Headphones?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm just laying tracks in the studio. That's my
Exactly.
vibe.
So
Hold on.
this is your first time as a director, and I'm curious if this viral sensation never happened to you, would you still be interested in going down the director route, and would it have been narrative maybe instead of a documentary?
I think I definitely would have started with narrative. I wouldn't have
Mhm.
even thought to make a documentary, probably. But this is like the craziest thing that's ever happened to me, or maybe anyone. And it was so bizarre because things kept happening. People found our album online in 2020 after we made it in the year 2000. And of course, back then we made it not for TikTok or the internet. We
Right.
made music and we made full feature films on my like Sony Handycam and all this stuff that was a kind of a secret. It was just for us.
Mhm.
And the fact that somehow someone put it on the internet 20 years later, people found it, people connected to it, and then a record label reached out about it. I just felt like I think I have to follow whatever this is. I don't know what this is, but it's something is happening here.
Yeah. And I'm curious, how much of a like I know the immediate reaction of like this is crazy that this is happening, but what is the immediate after the fact? Like what is that feeling of, oh no, I'm being perceived at a time when being perceived is the worst thing in the world?
This is so scary. Well, the here's the strange thing about the album itself is
Mhm.
that, we made it. We were Mary was 10, the rest of us were 12 when we officially made it, but we started working on it when we were all like 10, 11, 12. And we wanted to be the Spice Girls or Destiny's Child.
Mhm.
And then Robin, Janet Mary's mom, who produced the album with us because we asked her to. We said, "Could you record us?" Because she had this converted home studio where she was self-producing, and she was like, "Sure, but I have these tracks from my friend in Berlin. Like, let's make this a real project. Let's put your. I'm going to rearrange your songs to these tracks, and then the outcome, as if you've heard it, is
Mhm.
incredibly dissonant and strange and." We sound a bit haunted. And we were so embarrassed because it wasn't pop. It wasn't
Mhm.
straightforward pop. We're like,
Mhm.
what the hell is this? And then we went into junior high and we were like, let's never tell anyone about this. This
Mhm.
is so embarrassing. And so that feeling really had stuck with me until,
Mhm.
like, when I found out it was online and people were listening to it now, I was mortified. I remember my friend who's a director who's passed away, but Jeff Baina, and we were working on a film, and he found it, and he was like, "This is genius! I have to make a music video with you guys." And I was like, "That's the weird music I made when I was a kid. Like it's weird." And every time he would have a game night, he would be like, "I'm going to put this on," and I'd be like, "You cannot play that for everybody. That's so embarrassing." So it just all still felt like. We're not good singers. It's weird. I always thought this was embarrassing, and in the process of revisiting that time and reconnecting with them and being creative with them again
Mhm.
now, something happened. There was some integration that happened with my younger self. It felt like where I was able to be like, wait, you're cool and you did a cool thing. And it doesn't matter if it's sounds professional or perfect or
Mhm.
whatever, you know?
Yeah. And I'm curious, as like one of my favorite parts of the documentary was how seriously that you all and both the and Janet, right? The no, am I getting her the mom,
Robin,
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 sorry.
Robin O'Brien. Yeah.
Yeah. How seriously Robin took all of you. And now as an adult looking back, what does that how important was it that Robin took you guys as a real artist at that time? And like what do you feel like that did for your creativity at that age?
I'm so glad you asked that question because that to me has been such a profound
Hmm.
realization now as an adult to go, okay, it's so rare to take little girls' art
Hmm.
seriously. And especially back then in the early 2000s,
Hmm.
I think every little boy who played the guitar got a record deal.
Yeah.
And most people were like, but those are little girls, they're just little girls.
Hmm.
And to have Robin, who's this genius musician force on her own, go I see something here and I'm going to take you guys seriously was super empowering. We also had my mom, my house was kind of the hub where we would sleep over every weekend and
Mm-hmm.
film movies. And she let us use her like video camera
Mm-hmm.
and was like, oh, took us on location to shoot stuff. And they were so encouraging. Everyone was, all the parents were so encouraging, which I take for granted now
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of my friends who are artists now are like, my parents did not support me as an artist at all. I'm like, wow, what a gift that was. But then to go to the next level, now we're here and a real record label, Numero Group, who's very cool and they know cool stuff, wanted to fully produce a record. Here's the record, release it, take these little girls seriously and say there's something special here. It's really blown my mind and it feels almost like revolutionary, in especially in this moment where things are so dark and bad, to say little girls are amazing, girls are amazing, and that we're weird and funny and dark and creative and smart, and it's just so many things, and I rarely see that represented, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you feel like you grew up with a lot of stories about boyhood and what that
Mm-hmm.
experience is like? I can't think of many. There's Now and Then, which is
Right.
one of my favorite movies. And then Pen 15
Yeah.
was a revelation.
Yeah.
But that I can't think of many other ones.
When I was watching the documentary, Josie and the Pussycats came to mind, where it was like
Ugh, yes.
really misunderstood at the time, but now everybody but like as a little, I don't remember how old I was when that came out, probably like 7 or 8. I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen because it's so
Same.
weird.
It's so weird and funny, and it was marketed as such a fluffy thing, but
Hmm.
it was so smart and funny. Parker Posey's villain in that is my favorite villain I've ever seen. She just wants to have a sleepover and she wants friends. That is a really good reference because people really didn't get it back then.
No, it's really sad. When I was still living in LA, they had a one night only concert of it where they brought everybody back and like did the full album. It was incredible. It was like my girlhood. I was like, this is everything I've wanted.
Oh God, I'm so sad I missed that. That sounds amazing. I love that movie. That's a
It's
really good.
Yeah, it's so good. You are a performer, actor in day-to-day life, but I feel like there's something about singing that is more vulnerable, and maybe that's just because I don't, something about it is just scarier. So, as someone who is a working actor, what was it like to then go behind the microphone and record again? And is it scarier than acting for you?
So much scarier. It's exactly what you said. It's so vulnerable to
Hmm.
sing. I really think it maybe is the most vulnerable thing in the world because you're accessing some deep emotional
Mm.
truth, I think, and putting it out there, and everyone can hear if it's not working. Um, that to me, it's funny because I grew up doing musicals and I did sing, and my mom was very much like, "You're a singer," and I was always like, "I'm not good, I'm not good." And I just kind of stopped doing it. And she still is always like, "Why don't you take lessons? Why don't you get back into singing?" I'm like, "Mom, I'm not a good singer." And so to do this was horrifying when we were like, I guess we're going to sing in this documentary and make new songs. But I think because it was in this context with my
Mhm.
best friends and just going, literally, who cares if it's cool or it's good? It is just for the sake of being creative.
Mm.
That was so fun. But I still feel like if you asked me to get out on stage and
Mhm.
sing, it would be the scariest thing ever.
So there's going to be no performance after the screening.
Everyone is asked. Here's how we feel. I feel like it's time. We get asked that a lot. And the
Mhm.
thing is, when we were young, we never did live performance. We were
Right.
making stuff in our bedroom. And so now we are like, we don't have something to show. We haven't rehearsed anything. But I think it's time to start working on something because I think the opportunities are going to keep coming. So I think we will. We will. Not at this premiere, but we will.
And I'm curious because these are your best friends. There's so much history between them, between you all, and you are also the director though. So you do have to consciously think of how am I crafting the story? How am I getting the narrative that works? Did you ever feel like you had to kind of Were these two roles ever friction toward each other?
Yes, and I worked on it a lot in therapy. I would talk to my therapist about like I'm like all the logistics, all the planning and all this stuff, and then I'm supposed to be like free and creative with my friends, and like it's hard to jump back and forth. And we did a bunch of visualizations where I was kind of imagining putting not putting on different hats, but kind
Mhm.
of different awarenesses and just allowing that to be and not saying I have to be all this thing or I have to be all this thing. And it really helped. And I just went into it with a lot of intention of I'm going to be present, I'm going to be here. And I made it with my producing partner, Barry Rothbart.
Mhm.
And he was really, he shot it. He had my friend did sound, my friend Nellie did sound, and my husband shot another angle, and so they were like, we've got this, you go be
Mm.
present when I needed to be. And then we would huddle in the other room and be like, okay, what else do we need to get? Okay. And then I go back, be with my friends. So it was challenging, but it was cool.
Yeah.
It's like you can do hard things, you can do scary things, but it's like a growth experience.
Exactly. And when did you realize that you would start to have these? Because about midway through, it becomes more emotional when you guys are talking about the things that have been left unsaid for all these years. Was there any trepidation from you to put this on a film, or from your friends to be like, I don't really want to, I have a corporate job, I don't want to talk about this?
Certainly, yes. Some of them were like, but we talked about it a lot, and we as a group, X-Cetra, decided that we want to really be honest about girlhood and our
Mhm.
lives, and while still protecting, not overexposing anybody in a way that
Right.
is bad or scary. But that was the dilemma, especially, we had these amazing editors, Phil Rosanova and Audrey Leach,
Mhm.
and me and Barry. The four of us were this like filmmaking team in the editing room, because you craft the story after you shoot it with a documentary,
Mhm.
instead of when you write a narrative, you have the script and then you shoot it. So it was kind of the reverse. And as we were putting it together, there was a lot of thought put into how much we want to share, but a lot of intention about we're going to be honest, and we're also going to make sure everyone's okay with it. So I showed the film to the girls and Robin before we did picture lock to say
Mhm.
if there's anything that is too much, like we don't have to. And everyone was like, I'm comfortable with this. I want to show our real story, and I want to talk about real things. So
Yeah.
it was amazing that everyone was on board.
Did you show it at a sleepover or no?
I wish we didn't live in different states, because I
That's true.
absolutely would have screened it at a sleepover. But no, they all watched it at their own in their
Yeah.
own beds.
Yeah. And my last question for you, South by Southwest is partially a music festival. So how does it feel to have this musical part of you also be on display as part of this larger festival?
Crazy. It's so cool. It's so cool. We are going to participate in the music section. We're going to be introducing some bands and kind of showing up, having little merch tables, photo ops and things. So that's really nice. But it just every step along the way with this has been shocking and crazy. And at this point, I'm like, well, anything could happen now, and nothing's going to surprise me anymore, because who knows? Maybe we're going straight to the Oscars. I don't know. But it's like such an honor, and I feel like South by really gets it, because they
Mhm.
were like, this is really in the spirit of creativity, like what we stand for. And I so appreciated them supporting this little movie,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Ayden, and congrats, and have the best time if we don't cross paths down there.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching it and chatting. This was a really thoughtful, nice interview. So thank you.
Absolutely.